is a direct connection with Allah, a moment when we seek guidance, strength, and blessings. But prayer alone is only the beginning. To truly benefit from it, we must follow it with deliberate action that aligns with Allah's will. When you act immediately after prayer, your efforts are strengthened, your intentions are realized, and you move closer to becoming unstoppable in both faith and life. When you stand in prayer, when your heart is sincere and your hands are raised, when your soul trembles with the recognition that you are speaking to the Most High, there is a divine moment, a moment of unparalleled spiritual power. But here is the secret that many overlook. Prayer alone, no matter how fervent, is only the opening of the door. The key that makes you unstoppable lies in what you do immediately after you finish that prayer. Imagine a seed planted in fertile soil. You water it, you nourish it, you speak to it in whispers of hope and intention. Yet if you never turn your attention to the sunlight, to the care of that seed with your own hands, the seed cannot reach its full potential. Prayer is the water and the nourishment. Action is the sunlight. You must bridge the spiritual and the practical, the divine and the tangible, with a single decisive step that follows your communion with God. Think about the life of the prophets. Think about the lives of the saints, the scholars, and the great believers of history. Did they stop at prayer? Did they merely lift their hands and say, "My Lord, I ask of you," and then retreat into inactivity? No. Their prayers were the spark, but their immediate steps were the fire. The moment after prayer is when your heart is most aligned, most concentrated, most attuned to the divine will. It is when your mind is sharpened by clarity, your emotions are harmonized by spiritual energy, and your resolve is infused with the strength of Allah's guidance. This is the moment where intention transforms into action. When you finish your prayer, do not let the ordinary world immediately sweep you back into distraction. Instead, write down the goals you prayed for, the visions that rose in your heart. Act immediately on a single step that moves you closer to your aspiration. This is not mere planning or idle hope. This is translating the invisible power of your dua into visible, unstoppable momentum. And it does not matter if the task is small. Perhaps it is sending a message to someone you need to reconcile with. Perhaps it is starting that small habit that aligns your day with your purpose. Perhaps it is speaking a truth that your heart has longed to declare. The action itself, taken in the immediacy of divine connection, magnifies an effect far beyond ordinary efforts taken without prayer. Consider this. The angels witness the sincerity of your supplication. The heavens open, and blessings descend like rain. But these blessings are drawn to action. They are not passive. They are catalysts. And here is a profound secret of the universe. The divine does not merely respond to prayer in isolation. It responds to prayer when it meets human effort. This is why the first step after prayer, no matter how small, becomes a magnet that attracts opportunities, guidance, and unseen assistance. Every great success in history, every transformation, every life turned from despair to victory bears this pattern. The heart prays, the soul believes, and the hand acts immediately. This triad is unstoppable. You must also understand the psychology behind this sacred rhythm. When you pray, your mind is flooded with calmness, clarity, and focus. Your soul experiences alignment, and your body relaxes, releasing tension. In this state, your decisions, your planning, and your execution are more precise and more powerful. By acting in this heightened spiritual state, you leverage a force that is both human and divine. This is why the one who acts after prayer often achieves in months what others cannot achieve in years. This is the law of spiritual efficiency. The combination of divine connection and immediate action produces results that are disproportionate to the effort, almost miraculous in their consistency. Now, some may ask, what if my action seems insignificant? What if I am afraid to move, unsure of the outcome, doubting the strength within me? Let me remind you that the Prophet said, "Take even a small step towards your goal, for Allah multiplies what is done with sincerity. Your sincerity is the multiplier. Your immediate action is the amplifier. do not underestimate a single deliberate, spiritually aligned step, a letter sent, a word spoken, a small habit begun, a step taken toward knowledge, toward reconciliation, toward health, toward faith. These are the seeds of unstoppable momentum. Every habit of greatness begins with this principle. Scholars who have left legacies of wisdom, entrepreneurs who have changed nations, spiritual leaders who have transformed communities, they all harness the power of this moment after prayer. They did not wait for perfect conditions. They did not wait for certainty. They acted with faith in their hearts and alignment with their Creator. In doing so, they became vessels through which divine will flowed into the world. This is the secret to being unstoppable, recognizing that prayer is not the conclusion, but the ignition. Your action is the vehicle through which prayer becomes reality. To implement this in your life, cultivate a habit. After every prayer, pause. Let your heart settle. Let your mind remember the intentions you raised in your dua. Then, without hesitation, take one action, even a minor one, that propels you in the direction of your goal. Track it, celebrate it, allow the divine energy you felt in prayer to infuse your effort. This is not about perfection, this is about momentum. One step leads to the next, and soon, what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. And remember, this action is not limited to material or worldly pursuits. It applies equally to your spiritual growth, your relationships, your character, and your contribution to society. Did you pray for patience? Take the first action toward kindness. Did you pray for guidance? Seek knowledge or counsel immediately. Did you pray for success in your work? Complete a task or send an email that aligns with that vision. The immediacy is what transforms prayer into power. Delay is the enemy of destiny. Finally, understand that being unstoppable is not about ego or dominance. It is about alignment with divine purpose. It is about harnessing the blessings of prayer and turning them into constructive, transformative energy. Each act taken after prayer is like a ripple in a lake, touching multiple lives, multiple outcomes, and multiple dimensions of your own potential. Over time, these ripples converge into waves of extraordinary impact. This is the sacred rhythm of the unstoppable soul. Pray with sincerity, act with courage, repeat with consistency, and trust that Allah magnifies every effort made in alignment with His will. Consistency is a word that seems simple, yet it carries within it the weight of destiny. In life, we often wait for inspiration, for a surge of motivation, for the perfect moment to take action. But let me tell you something. Inspiration alone is fleeting. Moments of motivation are like clouds that pass in the sky. They come, they shine, and they disappear. What sustains greatness, what builds unstoppable momentum is consistency. And here is where the connection with prayer becomes transformative. When you pray, you are entering a sacred conversation with your Creator, seeking guidance, strength, and blessings. But the true power is realized when you follow that prayer with consistent action day after day, moment after moment, until your intentions crystallize into reality. Think about the rhythm of the day that Islam provides us. The 5 prayers spaced throughout the day are not just rituals, they are opportunities. Each Salah is a checkpoint, a moment to realign your heart and mind with your purpose. And what if, after each Salah, you committed yourself to a small, consistent act that moves you toward your goal? Perhaps it is reading a few pages of knowledge, reflecting on the words of Allah, making a phone call that you have been delaying, or simply taking a deep breath and centering yourself for action. The repetition of these small acts, aligned with your prayers, compounds over time. What seems insignificant on a single day becomes monumental when multiplied across weeks, months, and years. This is the secret of unstoppable progress. The harmony between spiritual devotion and disciplined, repeated action. Consistency after prayer is powerful because the spiritual state achieved in Salah enhances your ability to act with clarity and purpose. When your heart is aligned with Allah, your mind is sharper, your emotions are calmer, and your determination is stronger. Imagine performing the morning prayer, feeling the tranquility of your soul, and immediately following it with a deliberate act of growth. Studying, planning, or reaching out to someone for good, that act, fueled by the energy of prayer, carries more force than a day spent hustling without spiritual connection. The angels bear witness to your devotion, and the universe aligns in subtle ways to assist you. You begin to notice opportunities, insights, and guidance that were invisible before, simply because your consistent action after prayer draws divine support toward you. Consider the story of the companions of the Prophet. They did not rely solely on inspiration or luck. They prayed, yes, but they also built routines, habits, and disciplines that turned their small daily actions into great legacies. Consistency was their secret. They woke up for Fajr, prayed, and took action immediately, learning, teaching, helping, and serving. Their lives were not defined by a single moment of brilliance, but by repeated faithful steps taken with sincerity and dedication. Every day, the small actions compounded into enormous impact. This is not merely historical. It is a principle that applies to your life today. Now, you may think that consistency is boring or mundane. You may fear that repeating small actions will not bring the dramatic results you crave. But the truth is that the power of repetition is invisible to the impatient eye. Each day that you align your actions with prayer, you are building a foundation so strong that even the fiercest storms cannot shake it. Each small habit, each deliberate act is a brick in the house of your destiny, and the spiritual energy you draw from prayer acts as the mortar, binding these bricks together into a structure of unstoppable momentum. To harness the power of consistency, you must first understand intention. The Prophet taught us that deeds are judged by their intentions. Every small act, if done with sincere purpose and alignment with Allah's will, is magnified beyond measure when you act consistently. After prayer, you are not merely performing tasks, you are investing your spiritual energy into the world. This transforms ordinary action into extraordinary impact. Whether it is nurturing your health, strengthening relationships, or pursuing knowledge, the combination of prayer and consistency turns every effort into a blessing. Consistency also combats one of the greatest enemies of human potential: distraction. The modern world is full of noise, temptations, and endless interruptions. Without a spiritual anchor, it is easy to drift through life, reacting to every external stimulus and never moving steadily toward your goals. Prayer provides the anchor, and consistent action after prayer provides the rudder. Together, they steer you toward your purpose. By committing to one deliberate act after each prayer, you create a rhythm of progress. This rhythm becomes your signature, your unique path, your invisible advantage over those who wait passively for inspiration. It is also essential to recognize that consistency is not about perfection. Life will not always go as planned, and there will be days when energy is low or circumstances are difficult. Yet the act of showing up, of committing to small, faithful steps despite challenges, is itself transformative. The Prophet faced trials, fatigue, and immense responsibilities, yet he remained consistent in his prayers and his actions. Similarly, your persistence, even in the face of obstacles, sends a signal to the universe and to your own soul. You are serious, you are devoted, and you are unstoppable. To put this principle into practice, begin with a manageable routine. After each prayer, identify one small action that aligns with your goals. Perhaps after Fajr, you study or plan your day. After Dhuhr, you reflect on progress and take a step toward growth. After Asr, you reach out to someone in need or contribute to your community. After Maghrib, you review lessons learned and adjust. After Isha, you express gratitude and prepare for tomorrow. Each act is small, but when performed consistently, they accumulate into remarkable achievements. The key is not the magnitude of each step, but the persistence with which you take it. Consistency after prayer also builds character. Repeated, disciplined action strengthens patience, humility, and perseverance. It teaches you to trust in Allah's timing, to rely on His support, and to cultivate resilience. The more you practice this sacred rhythm, the more you internalize the lessons of faith and discipline. Your actions become a reflection of your spiritual state, and your spiritual state strengthens your actions in return. This cycle, repeated over time, creates unstoppable momentum in every aspect of your life. Another crucial aspect is accountability. Share your goals with someone you trust, someone who inspires you, or even keep a personal journal of your post-prayer actions. This simple practice magnifies the power of consistency because it forces you to remain aware and intentional. You begin to see patterns, track progress, and recognize the subtle ways Allah supports your efforts. Accountability, combined with prayer and consistent action, creates a trifecta of spiritual, mental, and practical power that propels you towards success. Let me also remind you that the impact of consistent action is not always immediate or visible. Like the sun nurturing a seed underground, much of the growth occurs in hidden layers of your life. You may not see the results today or tomorrow, but trust that every small act aligned with prayer contributes to your long-term transformation. This patience, coupled with unwavering consistency, separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the temporary from the lasting, the hesitant from the unstoppable. Ultimately, the power of daily consistency after prayer is a form of worship in itself. It is not only about achieving worldly goals, it is about honoring the gifts Allah has given you, cultivating your potential, and fulfilling your purpose on this earth. When you act consistently, you are cooperating with divine guidance, turning prayers into tangible reality, and becoming an agent of change. This is how ordinary individuals are transformed into unstoppable forces, through the sacred synergy of prayer and persistent action. And so, I urge you to embrace this principle with all your heart. Do not underestimate the power of small, repeated steps taken immediately after prayer. They are the quiet engines of greatness, the hidden rivers of divine momentum, the secret behind every life that rises above limitation and achieves extraordinary impact. Your prayer opens the door, and your consistent action carries you through it, step by step, until nothing can hold you back. Human beings are inherently social creatures. We are shaped, influenced, and guided by the people we spend the most time with. The Quran teaches us that companions have a profound impact on our character and our destiny. Keep company with those who remind you of Allah, and do not befriend those who distract you from Him. This principle is timeless and essential if you desire to rise, to excel, to become unstoppable in your faith, ambition, and purpose. The company you keep is one of the most powerful levers in your life. The people you surround yourself with can either elevate you toward your highest potential or drag you down into stagnation. There is a hidden energy in the collective influence of a circle of like-minded, faith-driven, ambitious individuals, a power that amplifies your own efforts and accelerates your journey towards success and righteousness. Consider the story of the Prophet and his companions. The environment in which they grew, learned, and acted was meticulously shaped by those around them. The Prophet himself carefully selected his companions, not only for their loyalty and integrity, but for their potential to reinforce each other's faith and purpose. Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, Ali, and others were individuals who constantly encouraged the highest standards of faith, discipline, and action. Their collective energy and mutual reinforcement created an unstoppable force that transformed a small community into a global revolution. This principle applies to your life today. If you surround yourself with individuals who mirror your values, inspire your ambition, and strengthen your faith, your own growth becomes inevitable. The first step in building such a circle is clarity about what you seek. You cannot form meaningful, life-enhancing relationships without knowing what you value. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become? What faith, character, and achievements do I aspire to? Once you have clarity, you can intentionally seek out those who reflect these qualities. Surround yourself with individuals who pray, who read, who act on their goals, who aspire to excel not only in this world, but in the hereafter. Their presence is like sunlight, subtle yet powerful. It nourishes your character, strengthens your faith, and awakens your ambition. But the circle is not just about reflection, it is also about accountability. The people you spend time with hold a mirror to your own behavior. If you are inconsistent, they will notice and call you to higher standards. If you are weak in faith or distracted by worldly temptations, they will remind you of the higher purpose. Likewise, your circle also benefits from your presence. When you align with others who strive for righteousness and excellence, you form a dynamic ecosystem where every individual lifts each other higher. The strength of this circle lies not merely in shared goals, but in shared commitment to action, discipline, and prayer. Islam emphasizes the importance of positive influence repeatedly. The Prophet said, "A man is upon the religion of his close friends, so let one of you look at whom he befriends." This is profound. It means that your spiritual, emotional, and practical trajectory is deeply linked to those you allow close to you. If your inner circle is filled with individuals who pray, read, seek knowledge, and pursue excellence, you are naturally encouraged to follow suit. Conversely, if your companions are careless, distracted, or negligent, their habits and attitudes will subtly erode your motivation and faith over time. The power of influence is quiet yet relentless. It shapes your thinking, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. Surrounding yourself with the right people is not always easy. It requires discernment, courage, and sometimes sacrifice. There may be family members, friends, or colleagues who do not share your values or ambitions. Islam does not ask you to abandon your responsibilities toward them, but it does ask you to be mindful of your environment and the company that most shapes your character. Seek out circles, mosques, study groups, mentorship programs, professional networks where faith, discipline, and ambition are celebrated. These environments act as catalysts, magnifying the effect of your prayers, your intentions, and your consistent actions. One of the greatest benefits of such a circle is motivation. Human beings often falter not because of lack of capability, but because of lack of reinforcement. When you witness others striving, succeeding, and acting with integrity, you are inspired to match or exceed their example. This inspiration is not envy, it is divine encouragement. Allah has created human society to be mutually reinforcing. The energy, dedication, and faith of those around you fuel your own growth. They remind you of what is possible when effort aligns with prayer, discipline, and divine guidance. Equally important is the wisdom gained from diverse perspectives within a circle. A well-chosen group is not homogeneous. It includes individuals with varied experiences, insights, and skills. This diversity challenges your assumptions, broadens your horizons, and strengthens your problem-solving abilities. When faith and ambition are the common threads, diversity becomes a source of collective intelligence and creativity. You begin to see opportunities and solutions that you could not have perceived alone. Your ambitions become more grounded, strategic, and aligned with your values, while your faith remains steady and vibrant. A circle that mirrors your faith and ambition also provides spiritual support during trials. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Even the most faithful and determined can falter without support. When your circle shares your commitment to prayer, action, and moral excellence, they become a source of encouragement, counsel, and inspiration. Their words, prayers, and actions reinforce your own resilience. You learn that hardship is not a sign of failure, but an opportunity for growth, and that support from the right people magnifies your ability to overcome obstacles. Consistency within this circle is essential. Relationships thrive on shared experiences and mutual reinforcement over time. Regular interaction, shared goals, and collaborative action deepen trust and amplify influence. Attend study circles, prayer groups, mentorship sessions, or even small gatherings where discussion, reflection, and planning occur. When you are intentional about the company you keep and engage with them regularly, the impact on your faith, discipline, and ambitions multiplies exponentially. Moreover, the circle you create should inspire accountability. When you commit to goals, habits, or acts of worship, your circle can hold you accountable in gentle and constructive ways. Accountability is not about judgment or pressure, it is about alignment with purpose. It ensures that your prayers translate into consistent action, that your ambitions are pursued with integrity, and that your character remains anchored in faith. Over time, this accountability develops an inner discipline that becomes unstoppable, even when external reinforcement is temporarily absent. It is also important to recognize the responsibility you carry within such a circle. Influence flows in both directions. You must model the values, faith, and discipline you seek in others. Your presence, sincerity, and actions contribute to the collective energy. By uplifting and inspiring others, you reinforce your own growth. The circle becomes a living network of spiritual and practical momentum, where every individual's progress contributes to the strength of the whole. The power of this circle is magnified when combined with prayer and consistent action. Imagine the rhythm. You pray, aligning your heart with Allah. You act, translating your intentions into reality, and you surround yourself with individuals who mirror your faith and ambition, reinforcing and multiplying your efforts. This trifecta creates a force that is nearly unstoppable. It is a force rooted in divine guidance, human discipline, and collective reinforcement. A force that transforms ordinary individuals into agents of extraordinary impact. Finally, remember that the right circle nurtures patience, humility, and gratitude. You will encounter people more advanced in knowledge, more disciplined, and more successful. Instead of feeling inadequate, let their presence inspire humility and aspiration. Learn from them, support them, and allow the collective growth to enrich your own journey. Gratitude for their presence, guidance, and influence magnifies the blessings of the circle, ensuring that your ambitions remain aligned with faith and integrity. In conclusion, surrounding yourself with a circle that mirrors your faith and ambition is not optional for those seeking greatness. It is essential. Your environment shapes your thoughts, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. Choose companions who elevate your faith, inspire your action, and reinforce your ambitions. Invest in these relationships, engage consistently, and contribute positively. Combined with prayer and consistent effort, the right circle transforms your potential into reality, your intentions into impact, and your life into a testament of faith, discipline, and unstoppable momentum.